To badly paraphrase the Beatles, when the rain comes, they run and fly and drive to Beaufort. It was the first AOPA fly-in of the year, and the weather forecast just kept getting worse the closer we got to the weekend, and yet folks flew in Friday in advance of the weather. They came for the Barnstormers party.
Now the two men took to fight when they pulled them off of the floor. Leroy around and likes jigsaw puzzle with a couple of pieces gone.
And incredibly, some even flew into camp despite certain knowledge they were going to get soggy. All in all, some 230 aircraft landed at Beaufort. Add in all the folks who drove in from up and down the East Coast, and we had about 1,800 people attend the fly-in.
And a large number of those folks showed up at the end of the day Saturday for Mark Baker's Pilot Town Hall. And the number one thing pilots wanted to know about? You guessed it, third-class medical reform and why it's taking so long to get it done.
It does frustrate us that we have really consensus at 100% in the Senate that this bill makes sense 3 times. And the House, in their transportation bill, it exists already. So you should think, well, geez, this should be really easy. Well, everybody agrees we should do this. By the way, I think that's right. But because the House has chosen to, at this point in time, deal with all aviation bills all together and not segment this one piece out, and that's what they've done by Chairman Schuster. We may be back to you and asking your help to contact your congressman and remind him this passed in the Senate 3 times. It's in the House bill already. Time to move it. It's not about disagreement anymore. It took us 2 years to get to the spot where we could explain it to enough people that it made logic and sense. Now it's time to get off the dime and move this thing. So I know we're all frustrated because this thing should be done by now, but it will be done.
Again, the holdup for medical reform in the House is that it's part of the FAA reauthorization bill that also includes privatizing air traffic control, an issue near and dear to the heart of Transportation Committee Chairman Bill Schuster. He's still trying to find the votes for his reauthorization bill. Meanwhile, the top members of the Senate Commerce Committee this week sent a letter to Chairman Schuster and Ranking Member Peter DeFazio. They said the Senate FAA reauthorization bill was a model for House action and urged them to move the Senate bill quickly. Not so subtly, they said there was not enough support in the Senate for ATC privatization part of the bill.
Meanwhile, back to the fun of the fly-in. It's not unusual for unusual airplanes to show up for an AOPA fly-in, but we don't usually get them this big. These flew in a tilt-rotor Osprey and opened it up for people to look inside. Not to be outdone, though, the Navy brought in an MH-53 Sea Dragon. Not sure what this says about the two services, but the Navy crew bunked in nice, dry quarters. The Marines, well, they camped on the soggy ground next to the Osprey.